17% in a single week, gone, in the green, already. And the indicator that just flashed says another 22% is still sitting on the table right now. What is happening and what on earth am I even talking about? Well, let me explain. This content is provided for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Market conditions can change over time. A report published this afternoon has confirmed something that this community has not been able to say in months. The current week is the most consistently green week Shiba Inu has posted since December 2025. Shib opened this week at 527 units and has already climbed to 618 units, a gain of nearly 17% across just 5 trading days. But here is where the story gets even more significant. The chart indicator that analysts are now pointing at suggests the ceiling has not even been touched yet. There is still approximately 22% of additional upside potential sitting above the current price based on a key technical framework. And that number is not a guess, it has a very specific verifiable source. That source is the Bollinger Bands indicator on the weekly time frame. According to reports published today, the 20-day moving average on the weekly chart, which forms the central midline of the Bollinger Band structure, is currently positioned approximately 22% above Shib's current trading price. The target level that corresponds to this midline sits at 760 units. Bollinger Bands work as a dynamic price corridor. They identify whether an asset is trading near the upper edge of its recent range, near the lower edge, or somewhere in the middle. The midline acts as the central gravity point. When price is below the midline, the natural pull is upward. When it is above, the natural pull reverses. Right now, Shib is below the midline, and the distance to it is 22%. Here's the thing. This framework has already proven itself twice this cycle. As per recent analysis, Shib dropped into the lower corridor of the Bollinger Band in September 2025. That lower band represents the outer boundary of historically extreme selling. Assets that reach the lower Bollinger Band are statistically stretched to the downside. They have been sold harder than their recent price behavior typically supports. And history on this chart shows what happened next. Shib tested that lower band line 2 more times after September. The first test came during the week of October 6th. The second came during the week of January 5th. Both of those tests were followed by rebounds. And now, with the current weekly candle already printing the strongest gain since December 2025, the sequence is repeating. Now here is where it gets interesting. The December 2025 week that today's analysis directly references as the last comparable green period saw Shib post a gain of 22.3% across 7 days. That is the bar this current week is measuring itself against. And with 17% already locked in across the first 5 trading days, the structure of this week's candle is tracking directly in line with that prior event. Analysts note that the December comparison is not coincidental. It points toward the kind of compressed, pent-up buying energy that accumulates during extended periods of weakness and then releases all at once across a single weekly candle when the conditions finally align. But here's the kicker. The 24-hour volume picture adds another dimension to the confidence level behind this move. According to market data, Shib's 24-hour trading volume has reached $222 million, representing a 69.5% jump from the prior day's activity. When weekly price performance of this strength coincides with a near 70% surge in daily trading volume, it sends a very clear message. Market participants are not watching from the sidelines. They are entering. The combination of the weekly green candle and the volume expansion creates the kind of conditions where 22% of additional upside from the Bollinger Band midline becomes more than a theoretical possibility. And here is why the Bollinger Band midline matters as a target rather than just an abstract number. When an asset has spent weeks inside the lower corridor of a Bollinger Band structure, it is operating in the zone that markets historically consider abnormally cheap relative to recent price behavior. The lower band is not a traditional support level. It is a statistical boundary that tells you price has moved far enough from its average that mean reversion forces start building underneath. Every session spent inside that corridor adds to the pressure of that return toward the mean, and the midline is where that mean reversion targets. Analysts note that 760 units, where the midline currently sits, is the normalization level the weekly chart is always pulling toward when extreme conditions begin to unwind. The 17% gain already underway is that return journey beginning. Think about the precise technical picture that analysts are working with here. On-chain trackers indicate Shib entered the lower corridor of the Bollinger Band structure in September 2025 and has been building a base inside it ever since. 2 prior lower band tests produced bounces. The third approach to this zone is now converting into a weekly move strong enough to compare with December 2025. Each of those lower band touches added layers to a foundation the market spent months compressing, and the 22% distance to the midline represents the distance between where that compression ends and where the natural equilibrium of the weekly chart actually lives. The weekly time frame carries the most reliable signals for longer duration moves. A single daily candle can be faked, a single hourly pattern can disappear, but a weekly candle that opens at 527 units on Monday and climbs through 618 units by Friday afternoon, backed by a 69.5% volume spike in 24 hours, is a structural event. It reflects the collective weight of 5 full trading days of decisions by thousands of market participants. Researchers point out that this kind of weekly signal, when accompanied by the precise Bollinger Band setup currently visible on the chart, has historically served as a launch ramp rather than a dead cat ceiling. The historical parallel that places this moment in the sharpest possible context comes from the second half of 2023. Shib spent the equivalent stretch trading in the lower range of its weekly Bollinger Band structure with repeated tests of the lower edge. Then a recovery week arrived that matched in intensity the comparable strong weeks from months prior. Market observers note that this comparative green week became the anchor point from which the next leg of the recovery developed. The midline was eventually recovered and the move above it extended the rally considerably further than the midline itself. The current setup mirrors the sequence both structurally and in terms of the volume behavior supporting it. What that 2023 parallel also demonstrates is the importance of reading the weekly candle while it is still building rather than waiting for complete confirmation. By the time a weekly candle closes green with volume behind it and a Bollinger Band framework pointing to a 22% target above, the sharpest buyers have already positioned themselves. Data reveals the chart is showing the roadmap in real time. The week is still open, and the second half of this week's candle has not finished printing yet. The structure is rebuilding. The weekly candle is confirmed. The Bollinger Band midline at 760 units is the next target. And here is what the Shib community has always understood about moments like this one. The 1 cent dream does not start with the price already halfway there. It starts in a week like this one, when the green candles return after months of red, when the volume arrives to back the move up, when the indicator points to another 22% of runway still available above the current price. Industry watchers note that real momentum, real volume, and real signal rarely arrive together. This week, all 3 showed up at once. Drop your honest reaction in the comments right now. Do you think Shib reaches 760 units before the week closes, or does this move need more time to develop? Click one of the videos on screen for more analysis you need to see today. Hit the notifications bell immediately because the next update on this move could arrive before you expect it. Share this video with every Shib holder you know right now.